All right, guys, back with another joint, man. This is George with Rhyme Rate, man. You know, I had to get to Chance the Rapper, Acid Rap. Shout out to everybody on my other channel, Lost in Vegas, that has been trying to get us to do Acid Rap. I mean, you guys technically have been requesting to have us do the entire Acid Rap album. Let me just start with the most popular song. I went on Reddit, well, one of the most popular songs. I went on Reddit, and Cocoa Butter Kisses was probably, that's the song that I saw coming up rather frequently on Reddit. I would say in most of the threads that I looked at. So I just chose Cocoa Butter Kisses. Let me know if this is the wrong song. Let me know. Give me more requests. But this is the song that came up the most. So that's why we're here. And I was like, yo, what made Acid Rap so special? So I kind of did a little research here, man. And obviously Acid Rap came out in 2013. It was saying that it was just sort of the free distribution model. You know, it was released on Dat Piff. I do remember that. And it had no label constraints. It created, you know, it didn't have a lot of corporate interference. It was Chance being able to express himself artistically, completely free. And he made a lot of money. It looks like the success of the free release allowed him to kind of tour with it. He got merch. His merch game was on point. He was able to monetize a lot off the touring and merch. And it just sort of set the precedence for a different model. I think it was some genre bending going on in this album. And it was just sort of a creative body of work, man, that kind of changed the game and really epitomized that sort of 2010s blog era feel. And I told you guys when I did the Mac Miller reaction, I was like, I want to revisit the blog era more, man. You know, guys like Vince Staples and Chance the Rapper, who I didn't really get too into. I wanted to kind of go back to them because I really kind of missed it. There were some guys that I checked that I liked, Wale and obviously Kendrick Cole and Drake. Schoolboy Q. There's a few people that I really actively listen to, but guys like Chance, I never really gave a chance. You know what I'm saying? So I want to get into Chance, man, because I know he can rap his ass off. It's just maybe his style has always been, when I've heard certain songs, I'm like, yeah, he can rap, but I don't know if his style's for me. But I'm going to do Cocoa Butter Kisses off the Acid Rap joint. Like I said, if this is the wrong request, let me know. I'll be happy to revisit this album down the road. But let's get into it, man. Chance the Rapper, Cocoa Butter Kisses. Oh, featuring Vic Mensa and Twista. Okay, we got Twista on this joint. All right, little generational gap being fused there between, you know, Vic Mensa, who's from Chicago, I believe, Chance the Rapper, new generation 2010s guy, and then Twista from back in the 90s. Okay, all right. You see, I know he just said na na na, and I'm stopping it already. But when I hear certain things like that, and I come from the type of era of rap that I come from, 90s street rap often, and not just street rap. I listen to Tribe Called Quest. I listen to everything, you know what I mean, on some level. But a lot of like the rappers that I love are 90s gritty, hardcore street rap. So when I hear Chance the Rapper, or when I've heard him in the past, he's always come off soft to me. It's just soft. It's nothing, not that he's not talented, but just, do I really want to hear that, right? So when I hear already with the song starting off, is na 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 na. But I'm gonna put my critic hat on. I'm gonna try to approach this more critically, you know what I mean? Because I know that my bias towards certain sounds is gonna be a strong influence in this video. So I want to see what he does from an artistic standpoint. But just shit like that, na 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 na. I'm like, no. 15 years ago, I'd be like, hell no. Already, it would have been a skip. So let me start it back up. Let me start it back up.
Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in.
Listen, it was a beautiful build-up, though. I mean, obviously, I was clowning on the na-na-na thing, but if you think about just the vocals in the background, ooh, yeah, right, you hear that. You hear some I believe, some sort of keyboard effects in the background. Piano comes in, right, or keyboard or what have you, and it provides sort of a warmth, right, getting into the song. And, yeah, you hear the innovation, right? You hear like, oh, this is something a little different, right, off rip.
Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in my hoodies, all my homies think it stink. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter kisses.
Listen, the music is lush. I know I keep stopping it, but I'm just paying attention to the craftsmanship, right? let's forget about what your personal style is and just focus on how this song was built. I thought it was a beautiful build up to him singing now, right? We have the keyboards or the piano in the background. We have sort of vocals in the background singing, ooh, yeah, right? Piano comes in a little bit more. It feels very lush, warm, right? It almost feels sort of like maybe a slight gospel feel to it, you know? And I'm just, and he's got melody in his vocals. These are all things to me that signified the dawn of something new, you know what I mean, as it relates to the blog era. Okay. Artistic George is impressed so far. So that side of George is impressed.
Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in my hoodies, all my homies think it stink. I miss my cocoa butter kisses.
Yeah.
I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in my hoodies, all my homies think it stink. I miss my cocoa butter.
Vaguely familiar. I feel like I heard this somewhere. Vaguely familiar. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burnt holes in my hoodies, all my homies think it's dank. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Right? Okay. So is this gonna be like just a degenerate, young, rambunctious youth in Chicago type of song? Getting high, living carefree, hiding that you're doing drugs from your mom. What do you say? Cigarettes on cigarettes. My mama think I stank. Being ashamed, or trying to hide the fact that you're doing drugs and you're doing what smoking and doing all these things your mama tell you not to do. Being a young kid in Chicago, that's what it sounds like to me. And cocoa butter kisses, I don't know if that's is that a weed play? And I don't know, is that a strain of weed? Cocoa butter kisses, is that sort of an action of, lacing your weed with certain things? Because the album's called Acid Rap, and we're talking about what, LSD and these sort of psychedelic drugs, right? So I don't know if cocoa butter kisses is like sort of a slang term in Chicago for psychedelics. I miss my cocoa butter kisses, I'm just trying to put it together. Let's go back.
I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in my hoodies, all my homies think it's stink. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Okie dokie, alky, keep it low key like Thor, lil' bro, or he'll go blow the loudy. Salty of sour Saudi, Wiley up off peyote, wildin' like that coyote. If I sip any Henny, my belly just might be outie.
It's beautiful what Chance is doing, right? Like, again, I know some people, because I've heard the same thing. The same thing I hear about Chance is what I hear about Big Sean. People get caught up in how they sound, the tone of their voice, the style of their music, and they get the big C word. The C word is corny, right? They get that. But I'm thinking about him being a kid in Chicago. When I think of Chicago, I think of Twista. When I think of Chicago in the mid-2010s, right, I think of Chief Keef and that side, right? Lil Durk in Chicago. There's the street side, the gangster side, but then there's this side, the sort of alternative, eclectic hip-hop, guys like Chance the Rapper, guys like Vic Mensa that came into the scene. So you got... what's my man name? Montana 300. Then we got the Punchline Underground, rappity rap dudes, but it's from a street perspective. And then you got this. So he said, "Okie dokie, alky, keep it low key, Thor, little bro, or he'll blow the loudy." Okie dokie, alky. Is he saying he's alky? From what I understand, is alcoholic. We used to call people who are alcoholics alkies. So he said, "Okie dokie, alky, keep it low key like Thor, little bro." Thor, low key is what? Loki is Thor's brother in Thor, right? I would imagine. But keep it low key. Don't tell anybody is what that means, right? And then he said, or he'll go blow the loudy. So I don't know if he's saying either I'm gonna be drinking alcohol like an alcoholic, or I'm gonna go blow the loud, which means smoking weed. So I gotta keep it on the low. I gotta hide it from my mom, hide it from, the elder statesmen in my family. Then he said Wiley up off of peyote, right? Again, that's a psychedelic. Peyote, I believe, is a psychedelic. Wildin' like that coyote. Wiley the Coyote is a play on the cartoon Wiley the Coyote, but he's wildin'. He's loose. He's just out of control, right? He's out of control with doing psychedelics is what this sounds like. So he said, if I sip some Henny, my belly may be outy. So if I sip some Henny, my belly may be outy, right? So when you think of a belly button, outy is when your belly button is protruding off of your stomach, right? But to me, if you sip Henny and all of a sudden it creates an outie, it signifies that you're overindulging in drinking, right? You got a big ass stomach. It's like if I take one more sip of Henny, I'm gonna push my damn belly button out. So that signifies that he's been actively overindulging in drinking alcohol, doing LSD, smoking weed. I'm getting the theme now. Acid rap. Cool. But love the flow, right? If you from a technical standpoint, man, okie dokie, alky, keep it low key like Thor little bro. The syllable game, right? The cadence, voice inflections, tone, pitch changes, all very technically sound. You know, from again, putting my critic hat on, this is dope. And he's infusing melody in it, you know?
I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Okie dokie, alky, keep it low key like Thor little bro, or he'll go blow the loudy. Saudi of sour Saudi, Wiley up off peyote, wildin' like that coyote.
Just this little slick, clever wordplay, right? Saudi of sour Saudi, right? So Saudi Arabia, right? It's a play on the country Saudi Arabia, but it seems like he's the king of blowing a specific strain of weed, maybe called Saudis. Sour diesel is what we used to call it, right? So Saudi of sour Saudi, like if the king or what have you of blowing it down, blowing that specific strain down, sour diesel. Okay, just let me pull it back.
Like Thor little bro, or he'll go blow the loudy. Saudi of sour Saudi, Wiley up off peyote, wildin' like that coyote. If I sip any Henny, my belly just might be outie. Pull up inside a Huggy, Starsky and Hutch a Dougie. I just opened up the pack in an hour, I'll ask my lucky. Tonight she just yelling fuck me, 2 weeks she'll be yelling fuck me. Used to like orange cassette tapes with Timmy, Tommy, and Chucky Jesus pieces, sing Jesus love me. Put Visine inside my eyes so my grandma would fucking hug me.
Pay attention to the emotion too, to the sort of vocal the vocal theatrics here, right? Jesus, and I'm out of lucky, right? Just again, all these things, regardless of if I necessarily like how they sound, I'm appreciating what he's doing, right? Using his voice as an instrument, man. So what do you say? Pull up inside a Huggy, Starsky and Hutch a Dougie. So Starsky and Hutch is an old TV show. They were like a tandem, a dynamic duo. So I don't know if he means just, a tag team and a Dougie, right? You know what I mean? I'm assuming Dougie maybe in Chicago slang is weed. So I'm sharing a blunt with my friend, Starsky and Hutching the Dougie, sharing a blunt. Then he asked my lucky cigarette play there, Tonight she's yelling fuck me. 2 weeks she'll be saying fuck me. So she'll say fuck him, as in wanting to have sex with him, but then 2 weeks later they're kind of like off and on. She'll be like, fuck you, I don't want anything to do with you, but she ain't going nowhere is what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? Then he references like the what is it, Chucky from the Rugrats, right? The orange cassette, right? When he say the cassette tapes with Timmy, Tommy, and Chucky. And then he said cheeses, pizzas, right? So I'm assuming he's talking about Chuck E. Cheese, right? Jesus pieces, sing Jesus loves me. So it feels also like he's talking about duality there, like he's talking about the warmth and the good and missing his childhood, but at the same time, almost like the second part of his childhood. Like it's like the first part, I remember being a young kid in Chicago. I had my innocence. We used to watch the Rugrats, and that was my favorite thing to watch on TV. But then as I grew older, I maybe was in the streets doing degenerate shit with my friends, smoking weed, doing LSD and all these other things. So maybe it's just him reflecting back on his come up, right? His sort of childhood years in Chicago, like his lower years, he's, as a child, not before his adolescence and then into his teen years. So just trying to put it all together to see what the point of this song is. It's called Cocoa Butter Kisses. So, let's keep it going, though.
Me and Chucky, Jesus pieces, sing Jesus love me. Put Visine inside my eyes so my grandma would fucking hug me. Your generation above me, I know you still remember me. My afro look just like that is. Y'all taught me how to go hunting. Blam! Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama.
Yeah, he said, put Visine inside my eyes so my grandma would hug me, So, okay. I remember this one time that I was a little saucy around my grandma, and it speaks to the, the sort of the grandmother in the black community, especially, is just sort of the matriarch. And I'm not saying that that's not the case in all communities, but it was a very, very sort of like rock. The grandmother in the black community is the rock, right? It's the sort of the foundation of the family, and then it means so much. Oftentimes, grandmothers raise their daughters' children in the black community, right? Because, or whatever, growing up, a lot of people in the 90s, a lot of people that grew up in the 90s, their parents were on drugs or what have you, right? So your grandmother was like your safe haven, the safe haven for a lot of kids, right? The sort of the person that sort of provided stability. So you always like, if you were cursing, you didn't want to curse her for your grandmother, right? You didn't want to do drugs, you didn't do anything. You didn't want her to, you wanted whatever vision she had of you was pristine. You wanted a pristine image in front of your grandmother, right? So he's like, yeah, let me put Visine in my eyes, indicating that he's smoking weed and his eyes got red. So put Visine in my eyes so my grandma would hug me because she would be ashamed of me. You know what I mean? Ashamed of my behavior. She knew I smoked weed. But I got to make sure I put on a good face. Whatever I'm doing, whatever bullshit I'm doing in the streets or around my friends, my grandma can't know. So I like that. Then he said, my afro looked just like my daddy's. Y'all taught me how to go hunting, blam. Then he said, oh, generation above me, and I know y'all still remember me, right? So to me, I don't know if he's talking about the disconnect. He's a young kid smoking weed in the streets, being a degenerate, putting Visine in his eyes so his grandmother wouldn't be, see him high. And it almost, to me, seems like he's talking about the disconnect between the older generation looking down on his generation, right? Yeah, y'all just a bunch of badass kids that's not being productive, right? So is he saying, oh, I know y'all still remember me? I'm Lil Chance. Used to run around the neighborhood, had the afro. Y'all love me, right? Even though you can't maybe recognize the person I've become. I don't know. Maybe I'm digging too deep into that, But I think that's his way of saying, like, oh, I know y'all remember me. Why would they forget him? They probably forgot him because they look at him in disgust because of his behavior, perhaps, right? So I don't know, making sense of this verse, to me, it just sounds like, dude, he was reflecting on his childhood, getting into drugs, and maybe there's sort of a nostalgia to it, right? There's a sort of longing for those old days of them cocoa butter kisses, maybe the drugs, maybe the kisses from his grandmother, his mom, or people in his life. But I think also it just means it's just sort of a nostalgic sort of reflection on him missing those days is what it sounds like to me. But anyways, cool. Let's keep it going.
Inside my eyes so my grandma would fucking hug me. Your generation above me, I know you still remember me. My afro look just like that is. Y'all taught me how to go hunting. Blam! Cigarettes on cigarettes, mama.
And when he says y'all taught me how to go hunting, is that his way of saying the way you see me is I learned it from you? My dad, when he says hunting, maybe I'm taking it, again, I'm getting too deep with it, but metaphorically, maybe he's saying, y'all taught me how to go. When you think of hunting, you think of taking someone out, hunting animals in a forest, right? But he's from Southside Chicago, I believe, right? Or from Chicago. So I don't think he literally means hunting. I think it's like, oh, don't you remember me? I'm the kid that was in the neighborhood. With all this bullshit that I'm doing, I kind of learned from y'all. You passed down some of these traits to me, smoking weed and drinking and doing these psychedelic drugs. I learned this from y'all. Could be me. I don't know. I could be tripping. That's how I'm taking it.
Think I stink. I got burn holes in my hoodies. All my homies think it's dank. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in my hoodies, all my homies think it's dank. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I will smoke a little something, but I don't inhale. Everywhere that I go, everywhere they be asking how's it going, so the go ends. Well, go figure, Victor's light skin, Jesus got me feeling like Colin Powell. All praise to the guy, God knows he's a pro like Cole Intel, check.
Yeah, that Colin Powell line. I saw that quoted on Twitter. Colin Powell and Colin Powell. Colin Powell was what, the Secretary of Defense. And what did Vic Mensa say? He said I smoke a little something, but I don't inhale. Bill Clinton, I smoke weed or something. I think that's what he's referencing. Bill Clinton said, I smoke, but I didn't inhale, and that was a thing in the 90s. But also he said Colin Powell. I've heard that line referenced, and people sort of breaking that down. Colin Powell, Secretary of Defense, but Colin Powell, as in he's light-skinned, right? Everywhere, he said, everywhere that I go, everywhere they be asking how's it going, said it's going well. Go figure, Victor's light-skinned. You know what I mean? Jesus, he got me feeling like Colin Powell. So I don't know if he's saying, like, if he calls himself the light-skinned Jesus, or is he saying light-skinned, comma, damn, y'all think everything is good because I'm light-skinned, right? Like, I just got it easy because I'm light-skinned, because he said, go figure. You know, Victor's light skinned. So of course everything's going well. You light skinned. You got it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool.
I will smoke a little something, but I don't inhale. Everywhere that I go, everywhere they be asked how's it going, so the go ends. Well, go figure, Victor's light skin. Jesus got me feeling like Colin Powell. All praise to the guy, God knows he's a pro like Cole Intel. Checkmate, check me, take me to the barber like you know me well. I mean, normally you see Norma Jean with a kick it with Farmer Phil. But these kids these days, they get so high, burn trees, smoke chlorophyll till they can't feel shit, face, this 15 hits on this L. Elevated train and the craziest thing got me feeling like Lauryn Hill. Miseducated, my dick delegated, rap Bill belling me. They said I should've never made it, probably should've been dead or in jail. There be dad, enough of that jazz, asshole absinthe up in that glass. Are we there yet? Ice cubes in a bone, rip brain dead, take a tuck and then pass. I think we.
He's saying a lot in there, man. And Vince, excuse me, not Vince, but Vic is incorporating a lot of what Chance did. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not quite as much melody, man, but again, wordplay in there. Let's slick little Colin Powell line there. Colin Powell, but Colin Powell. Multi-syllabic use, right? You know, a little bit of alliteration in there. I think I detected. So very good technical rapping. I don't know exactly what Vic is trying to say here. I might smoke a little something. So again, I think that stays on the theme of young kids in Chicago in, you know, the 2000s or what have you, right? Smoking weed, doing drugs, running around, being degenerates, right? Then he said, everywhere I go, right? Colin Powell. But then he said he's a pro like COINTEL, counterintelligence. Okay. You know, getting a little deep there with the counterintelligence. I don't know if that's in reference to, because he said Colin Powell, but he's a pro like COINTEL, counterintelligence that sort of went against activists. You know, in the 70s and 80s and all that other stuff, there was a counterintelligence unit that went against activists. He said, checkmate, take me to the bedroom. Now he's sort of transitioning to talking about being in a bedroom with a girl that I think isn't from where he's from, because he said Norma Jean wouldn't kick it with Farmer Phil. Normally we wouldn't, me and you, a guy like me that comes from where I come from, wouldn't get with a girl like you. So I don't know if that means some suburban girls from Chicago or something like that. They met up, and how they met up was the sort of love of being high, right? But these kids these days, they burn trees, smoke chlorophyll. So sort of this sort of culture of kids from, you know, maybe inner city youth somehow meeting up with kids that, you know, aren't from the inner city. The common theme, the common denominator of what brought them together was just smoking weed, getting high. And so we like, normally a dude like me wouldn't be with a girl like this, but we came together because we both like getting high, is how I'm taking it. You know, but then it's a counterintelligence played, and he's saying, yeah, it's just, I'm trying to figure out what that's my pickiness with sometimes with rappers. Like, and it's not that there's a right or wrong way to write your verses, but sometimes I yearn for someone to make, like, what is the point? What is the sort of central theme of your verse? What are you trying to say? And right now I'm like, I don't know what he's trying to say, but let's pull it back. But I like the way, from a technical standpoint, I love the way he's rapping, by the way. But what are you trying to say? Let me pull it back.
Rap Bill belling me. They said I should've never made it, probably should've been dead or in jail. There be dad, enough of that jazz, asshole absinthe up in that glass. Are we there yet? Ice cubes in a bone, rip brain dead, take a tuck.
Okay. I like when he said the rap Bill Bellamy. I don't know if he's referencing Bill Bellamy from the movie How to Be a Player. The rap Bill Bellamy, I'm out here, because that's coming off the Norma Jean. What did he say? Take her to the bedroom. You know, Norma Jean went and kick it with Farmer Phil. Then he said 15 hits of this L. We related, elevated. He's high, elevated. Got me feeling like Lauryn Hill, miseducated. So he's miseducated. Outside in the street smoking weed, running around with his friends, not getting the education that he deserves. Because I think later on he said something about being absent, right? You know, or did he say absinthe, as in alcohol? I'm not sure. Thumping that glass. Okay. Then he said deadbeat dad, enough of that jazz. Deadbeat dad, enough of that jazz. So, again, that's him sort of speaking to young kids, Chicago, urban youth. Dad's not home, right? Dad's not in the household. Enough of that jazz. Deadbeat dad. And I think jazz is many people, I'm not saying this, but many people look at jazz as dead. Enough of that, but also enough of that jazz, enough of that talk, right? Enough of that jazz. But enough of jazz, like as in dead. Just like my dad is a deadbeat, jazz is dead, right? You know, so same old type of thing. Are we there yet? Cubes in a bong. Are we there yet? Ice Cube starred in the movie Are We There Yet? With the kid movie Are We There Yet, right? But cubes in a bong. So smoking weed, you got ice cubes in a bong. I don't even know how that works, but people put ice cubes in bongs. He's talking about smoking weed. You know what I mean? R.I.P. brain dead. Take a tug, then pass. So, okay, I'm going to pull it back a little bit because I'm trying to get, like, what was the point of that verse? Is it just sort of sporadic, randomized thoughts of different things, sleeping with girls, smoking weed, getting high? Did he mention counterintelligence with Colin Powell? Then he mentioned, like, you know, like what did he mention he mentioned himself having a deadbeat dad. So I get picky sometimes, like organized. No, there's not a right or wrong way to write. If it's a stream of consciousness approach, cool. But sometimes, depending on what mood I'm in, sometimes I'm not in the mood for randomized, sporadic, this doesn't really connect to that. That doesn't connect to this rap. And it just depends on the mood. But anyways, let me pull it back a little bit.
Can't feel shit, face, this 15 hits on this L. Elevated train and the craziest thing got me feeling like Lauryn Hill. Miseducated, my dick delegated, rap Bill Bellamy. They said I should've never made it, probably should've been dead or in jail. Deadbeat dad, enough of that.
Yeah, they said that should've never made it. He said, my dick delegated. I'm the rap Bill Bellamy, right? I'm delegating, you know what I'm saying? I'm giving dick to different women. You know what I mean? I'm the rap Bill Bellamy. I'm maybe referencing How to Be a Player when he was sleeping with different women throughout that movie, trying to juggle dealing with different women. And my dick delegated to this woman, that woman, this woman. And he said they said I should have been dead or in jail. Deadbeat dad not being there, which would lead to oftentimes kids being directionless and being in jail or dead. Okay.
Asshole absent up in that glass. Are we there yet? Ice cubes in a bone, red brain dead. Take a tug and then pass. I think we all addicted. Yeah. I think we all addicted. Really though. I think we all addicted. Yeah, I think we all addicted. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in my memories. My homies think it stank. I miss my cocoa.
Interesting bridge, right? Where Vic says, I think we all addicted. I think we all addicted. Addicted to what? The past, our nostalgia. Is he addicted to drugs specifically? We're all addicted to something, addicted to a time where, we didn't have to be responsible as kids. Something to think about.
It's my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in my memories. My homies think it stank. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I think we all addicted. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in my hoodies. All my homies think it's stank. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter
Twista. I can make a flow, pitter patter with a patter, pitter juicy. Used to be in a Jollibee and a goofy. Trying hard not to be addicted to a groupie. I ended up on an album cover in the Gucci. You see, I be still a guy, but a goofy doobie. Flowing about drugs and
one of the greatest technical rappers ever, man. Trying hard not to be addicted to a groupie. So Twista came in like I used to have a kufi on, but then, trying not, I was sort of balancing, right? That duality. I think this whole song is kind of like the duality of trying to be a growing up as a kid in Chicago, hiding the fact that I'm smoking weed from my grandmother, trying to be on the right path, trying not to disappoint the older generation, but at the same time, right, and trying to be on the straight and narrow. But at the same time, I'm doing these sort of degenerate things, trying hard not to be addicted to a group B, right? And then he said after that, I don't know how far I've gotten, I ended up on an album cover in a cool G. I'm trying to be a Muslim and stay true to my faith, but I got the temptation. You know what I mean? It's how that sounds to me. But I love the technicality of Twista, man. The syllable work, obviously the speed, the tempo of the rapping is just classic Twista.
Twista. I can make a flow, pitter patter with a patter, pitter juicy. Used to be in a Jollibee and a goofy. Trying hard not to be addicted to a groupie. I ended up on an album cover in the Gucci. You see, I be still a guy, but a goofy doobie. Flowing about drugs and the Uzi.
Yeah, he said, you see, I'm a goopy, Uzi, and you see, right? Nasty.
Dual principle. Sometimes I'ma be about some hope. Sometimes I'ma wanna make a movie. And when it come to rapping fast,
so there you go. So when I spoke to duality, that's the dual principle. Sometimes I'm gonna be about some hoes. Sometimes I want to make a movie. That's exactly what I was talking about. The duality, right? He's got the sort of want to be a Muslim and sort of be sort of a pillar to the Muslim community, right? To want to exemplify sort of faith and to follow those principles of being a Muslim. But at the same time, sometimes I just want to fuck some hoes. You know what I'm saying? I want to fuck with them groupies.
That's the dual principle. Sometimes I'ma be about some hope, sometimes I'ma wanna make a movie. And when it come to rapping fast, I'm the Higgs boson. And though my style freakish, I can still break it.
Yeah, he said something. I'm sorry to keep interrupting it, but he said sometimes I want to be about some hope, and then sometimes I want to make a movie. So sometimes I want to give hope to my community or where I come from, and preach hope and talk positive in my music. And then sometimes I want to make a movie. I want to put these Coogee sweaters on, rock these chains, fuck with these hoes, yada, yada, yada.
About some hope, sometimes I'ma wanna make a movie. And when it come to rapping fast, I'm the Higgs boson. And though my style freakish, I can still break your body down to 5 pieces like I did Voltron. Cause I'm addicted to the craft and I be off of OG. Know me, I'm the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the ghost. See, never scared of mean spirits, methamphetamine lyrics, cooler like I'm off of codeine, low key. Don't be so judgmental, even though I'm reminiscing. If I don't know what I miss is, I'ma end up figuring out that it's home and my mother and my grandmother.
He said, even though I be reminiscing, even if I don't know what a miss is. Don't be so judgmental, though I'm reminiscing, if I don't know what I miss is. So a miss is as well. So dope. Could be an entendre there. Don't know what a miss is. Don't know a missus, as in a Mrs. Twista, like his wife. I don't even know what a missus is, but I don't know what a miss is. I can't miss, is what he's saying, right? What do you say? Never scared. So he's on theme like he said, because I'm addicted to the craft, and I be off of OG. So he's addicted to the craft of writing, is what he's saying. And I'll be off of OG Kush is what he's saying. So again, the theme of smoking weed here. Know me, I'm an Obi-Wan Kenobi of the dope, see? You know what I'm saying? So Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars reference, he's a Jedi. I'm a Jedi with this shit of being dope as a lyricist, but also Obi-Wan Kenobi of the dope, drugs, a drug reference there. He said, cooler like I'm off of codeine, low key. I'm cool like I'm off of codeine, right? So codeine, promethazine, codeine, and all that drug reference. Don't be so judgmental, even though I'm reminiscing. So he's reminiscing on same thing Vic Mensa did and my man Chance the Rapper, just reminiscing doing drugs in his youth, right?
Lyrics cooler like I'm off of codeine, low key. Don't be so judgmental, even though I'm reminiscing. If I don't know what I miss is, I'ma end up figuring out that it's home and my mother and my grandmother cocoa butter kisses. This is just a testament to the ones that raised me, the ones that I praise and I'm thanking. I need them but the chronicle up in my clothes, and I wanna get a hug and I can't cause I'm stinking. Never too old for a spanking.
Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink.
Twista
I
fuck.
got burn holes in my memories. My homies think it stank. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I think we all addicted. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got burn holes in my hoodies, all my homies think it stank. I miss my cocoa butter kisses.
I'll stop it right there. Yeah, we get the point. You miss your cocoa butter kisses. I think it's a reminiscing on the past, right? I miss the cocoa butter kisses. Could be a drug. Could be reminiscing on the past. I think Twista at the end said, I miss my grandmother's cocoa butter kisses. Why would they call it cocoa butter kisses? Because black people love using cocoa butter. Why? Because, you can see the ash on our skin where our skin gets dry. So cocoa butter is a thicker sort of, cream, right? Or sort of thing that you can use to get rid of the ash, man. And it's got vitamins and antioxidants in it. It's good for your skin. So it's a sort of a reference. When you say cocoa butter kisses, it's referencing black culture. We love cocoa butter in the black community. Put that on your elbows, in between your I'm not saying everybody outside the black community doesn't love cocoa butter, but it's a big thing to have cocoa butter on deck in a black household. So when you say cocoa butter kisses, cocoa butter as in cocoa butter kisses from a black, mother or grandmother, and also cocoa butter representing just what black people use to keep themselves nice and their skin hydrated, we'll say. So I love that. And again, this whole song to me was about reminiscing on the past, duality of there's two parts of yourself, right? There's the part that's around your family. The other part is when your family's not around, what are you doing with your friends? But when your family's around, there's a level of respect there that you try to show. You try to put up, it's two faces, it's two sides to who you are and what you like and what you love, right? And I think that's just kind of how it came off from all three of them. You know what I mean? My mama think I can't smoke cigarettes and weed because I don't want my mom to find out, but I love doing this shit, right? Reminiscing on the good times. That's how I took the song. As a critic, I think this is a great song. I understand why this was such a big deal, because it was innovative. You know, we're coming off of Kanye again. I always say Kanye kicked down the door for people like Chance. That's why they love him. Not only is Kanye from Chicago, but Kanye's style of making music was sort of wasn't the street guy, right? And there's a lot of people that grew up in the hood. The hood has a wide range of people. Not everybody from the hood is from the streets. Not everyone from the hood is a street person. Most people from the hood aren't in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people like Chance the Rapper. We have nerds in the hood. We have kids who are into, eclectic things. And I think Chance the Rapper spoke to that sort of demographic. Like, yo, smoking weed with my friends. Maybe I'm skateboarding. I'm into that type of style. I got a mixed friend group. You know what I'm saying? And doing degenerate shit. So, and I think the innovation in the production, you know what I mean? The sort of alternative drums in the background, the effects on the keyboard, the gospel-like singing in the background, right? The warmth of this. It was produced very well. Chance's ability to sort of weave in and out of different flows and multi-syllable usage, tone changes, right? The character, the theatrics in his voice, all of that shit was what makes the blog era the blog era. It was very innovative and it was needed. How many more shoot 'em up, bang bang songs can we, coming from being a guy that grew up listening to 90s street rap? Not all 90s street rap. I listen to the Roots, Mos Def, and all that shit, conscious stuff as well. But conscious, then also street rap. I mean, what was the next step, right? Then it had to be something like this. It had to be Drake, Kendrick Cole, Chance the Rapper. It had to be Vince Staples. The kids that aren't necessarily focused on street rap. You know what I mean? And just creating something cool and more transcendent to people outside of the hood, So salute to Chance for this one, man. Song's probably not for me, but I really, really respect what he did on this, man. There's a lot to from a critical standpoint, there's a lot to appreciate. So give me more from this album, Acid Rap, and that's it. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you have subscribed, please subscribe. I'm George. This is Rhyme Rate. I'm out.